We are now ready to start adding Facebook sign-in to our application. And the way we are going to do this is by registering a new application with Facebook and do all the necessary configuration. And just as we have done for Google Sign-in, we will install a new Facebook plugin, then we will add all the necessary code, and finally we will test our app on iOS and Android. So let's get started by heading to this page on the Facebook developer portal. And since we already have the Android emulator running over here, we can start by following the quick start guide for Android. And by the way, in order to follow this guide, you need to have a Facebook account and register as a Facebook developer. So if you are not already logged in, you will see a button to do that on this page. Okay, so once we are logged in with Facebook, the first step that we need to do is to create a new app. So we can tap on this button over here, and then a dialog shows up, and here we can enter a name for our app. So I'm going to call it Time Tracker. And then I can press on the Create App ID button over here. It is asking me to complete a security check. So I'm just going to do that as well and submit. And as I can see, my application now appears here alongside the application ID. Next, I'm going to skip sections 2 and 3 because these don't apply to our Flutter project, and I'm gonna head over all the way to section 4, which is called Edit Your Resources and Manifest. So we're going to follow the steps over here. And the first one is to edit a file called strings.xml. So let's get back to Android Studio, and the actual location where we need to look for this file is under Android, and then App, and then Source, and then we're going to Main, and then Res, and then this values folder, which is over here. And as we can see, the strings.xml file is actually missing here. So what we're going to do is to create one. So new file named strings.xml, and this file is created empty. So what I'm going to do here is to copy the contents from this styles.xml file into here, and this is just so that I have a valid XML file syntax, and I'm going to strip out this style tag over here. So I've just done this to make sure that this is valid XML. Then I can head back to the web page, and over here I can copy the lines that I need, and then I can put them back into Android Studio over here. Okay, so let's carry on. Next, we need to open the Android manifest.xml file, and we need to add this permission line. So I'm going to copy this, and then if I head back over to Android Studio, I can open this Android manifest file, which is located over here, and I can see that this permission is actually already included in this file. So I'm not going to copy it over again, but if for any reason you don't have it in your file, make sure to add it here. And then there are a few more lines that we need to copy over here. So I'm going to copy this code and then back to Android Studio, and I can locate the application element over here, which has an activity already. And at the end of it, I'm going to make some space, and then I'm going to paste these lines just like this. Okay, so the next step that we need to do is to provide the package name that identifies our Android app. And this is something that we can easily find at the top of our Android.manifest file. So it is this package string over here. So we can copy this, and then we can paste it over here. And we can also paste it in the next field called default activity class name. And then we can add .main activity at the end over here, and let's save this. And it looks like we get a dialog warning us that this package is not listed on Google Play. And this is expected because we are still developing this app and we haven't registered it with Google Play. So let's go ahead and confirm this. Okay, so the next step is to provide some development and release key hashes for our app. And we need to use the command line terminal to do this. Now, one thing that I want to point out is that we have already generated our debug key when we register our app with Firebase. And as a proof of this, I can show you the Firebase settings page over here. And if you remember, when we created our Android app, we went through these steps to generate an SHA-1 fingerprint. So what we're going to do is now to copy this code, and then we go back to Android Studio. We can open up a terminal, and we are going to paste this line, and then we can press enter. So because this is a debug key store, I can just leave an empty password, and I can see that now it has printed a new token over here that I can take and copy. And then if I head back to my browser, I can scroll down and I can pass this hash over here like this, and then I can save as well. And just to be clear, the documentation here says that if we intend to release our app to the store, we also need to generate and provide a release key. However, I'm going to skip this as I just want to complete my setup for development. Okay, so next there are a number of other steps in this tutorial, but these are actually not necessary for our Flutter project. Okay, so we have now registered our app with Facebook, and before I continue, I want to quickly make one small change that I've forgotten to include. So if I head back to Android Studio and I scroll to the bottom of the Android manifest.xml file, I can see that over here I have this activity which we've just added, and this defines an Android label key with a value of string/app name. Now this assumes that we have a strings file which contains an app name key. However, this is not the case because we actually needed to create a new strings file. So what I'm going to do is to copy this app name value over here and then open up the strings file again. And here I'm going to add a new line called string and then name equals app name. And then I'm going to give it a value of time tracker. And this is just to ensure that Android Manifest can find the string that is needed. So after making this change, it seems like some of these strings are still flagged in red. However, for now we are not going to worry about it because once we install the Facebook plugin, then these errors will go away. So let's continue on the next video.